Okay, this is second semester exam review part 2, which covers questions 31 to 60. Again, remember, I'm not teaching the material. I'm trying to help you get the correct answer in the most efficient manner. Okay, so the rectangular coordinates of the points are given. Find the polar coordinates expressed in radians. That's hilarious because all those are in degrees. But anyway, let's keep going. So we'll start off with this is negative, negative, y'all. That means this is in quadrant 3. Okay? Is 135 in quadrant 3? It is in quadrant 2. You have a unit circle right there with you. Is this in quadrant 3? 135 again is in quadrant 2. 225 is in quadrant 3. So it's one of these two. Okay, and if you think about this, I'm going to try this one. This is 10. The coordinates of 225 are negative square root of 2 over 2, negative square root of 2 over 2, comma, negative square root of 2 over 2. And when you multiply that by 10, you get negative 5 square roots of 2. And so my answer is going to be C. All right, converting from rectangular to polar. Polar means I need only r and or theta. Rectangular means I'm going to have x and y in it. So if you remember what I just talked about in the last couple of problems, x squared plus y squared equals r squared. So r squared equals 4 and r equals 2. So the answer is going to be D. Okay. This one here, the only way to work it is I'm going to need to, I find it easiest to go ahead and expand it here, just like I talked about. So when I expand x minus 12 quantity squared, I'm going to have x squared minus, multiply them together times 2, which is 24x plus 144 plus y squared equals 144. Well, 144s are gone. We just talked about x squared plus y squared equals r squared, and x is equal to r cosine theta. Okay, that's just the definition. So from here, we take it to the other side. We have r squared equals 24 r cosine theta, because you're supposed to always solve when you put it in polar equation. It tells you right here, express r in terms of theta. So we're always trying to solve for r. So in this case, I divide both sides by r, and I'm going to get that r equals 24 cosine theta, which, whoops, that answer is C. All right, look at this one. A little tricky, but if you don't remember, all right, it's a line. But if I have a theta, then my conversion factor is tangent of theta equals the tangent of 2 pi over 3. Well, the tangent of theta is equal to y over x, and the tangent of 2 pi over 3 is the square root of 3. So if I multiply both sides by x, then I'm going to get y equals the positive of, actually, LOL, it's 2 pi over 3. So that's in the second quadrant. So it's negative, which is why my answer is D. All right, r cosine theta, we just talked about that. That right there equals x. That's the definition. Should be on your card if you don't know it. So the answer is C. All right, the graph of a polar equation is given. Select the polar equation for the graph. That is a circle, okay? So r equals -4. So if I see -4 sine theta, okay, you kind of need to know that that's a circle. The -4 right here tells you that you're going to -4, and the sign is the y. So I'm going to -4 on the y-axis. So my answer in this case is A. Okay, this one down here would be going on the negative x-axis. Okay, all right. This is that flower in your rose curve, what we called it. That was r equals a, that's not a, cosine. Try that again. R equals a, and it could be cosine or sine, cosine of b theta. Okay, which knocks that out, and so it's one of these two. It's either cosine or sine. Okay, 2 is the petal length. Okay, the difference between these two is that this one here, as we've taught, starts at the positive x-axis. So my answer is C. Okay, sine starts at 90 divided by whatever b is. So that would be, but the point is it doesn't start on the positive x-axis. Okay. All right, find the absolute value of a complex number. That is the square root of a squared plus b squared. So this is going to be the square root of 14 squared plus 11 squared. And that is D. All right, 39, 6i. Okay, I find it easiest, y'all, to do these problems 6i, if you can remember, okay? When we plot a complex number, this is the real axis, and this is the imaginary axis. And you plot it just like a point. This is like 0 plus 6i. So that means I just go up here to 6. That's where it plots. Well, what angle is that, y'all? You know that angle is 90 degrees. And so the only one that's 90 degrees is B. Okay? You can check it out if you want to. What's the cosine of 90? The cosine of 90 is 60. Sine of 90 is 1, and 1 times I. So that's what this is. And 6 times 0 is 0. 6 times 1i is 6i. Okay? But a lot of times if you will plot these things, it's a lot easier than doing it algebraically. Okay, write the complex number in polar form, express the argument in radians, okay? This here, y'all, is 2 minus 2i. Well, that's a positive and a negative, which means that it's in quadrant 4, okay? Which of these angles is in quadrant 4? 5 pi over 4 or 7 pi over 4? Okay, right. 7 pi over 4 is the only one in there. And if you remember, so we have the difference between these, because that's part of doing multiple choice. What's the difference in these two answers, y'all? Cosine of 7 pi over 4. They both say the same. What's different is this r that's in front. And how do I find that? Is I take 2 squared plus 2 squared equals r squared. Well, r has to be 2 squared to 2 because it's the square root of 8. So the answer is B. All right, 41. Write the complex number in rectangular form, okay? So where is 3 pi over 4, okay? What we're doing here, 3 pi over 4 is in, I won't go there. Let's just do this. Negative 9. Cosine of 3 pi over 4 is negative square root of 2 over 2. And the sine of 3 pi over 4 is negative square root of 2 over 2. So I have negative here. And when I multiply that by negative, I'm going to have positive. So really, it's all about the signs. And that's all you have to worry about. A is not positive. B is not positive. C is positive. But guess what? I messed up because the sine of 3 pi over 4 is positive, y'all. Sine of 3 pi over 4. So when I multiply, I'm going to have the first one is going to be positive and the second one's going to be negative. So my answer is A. But again, it does have to do with the signs. So pay attention to the signs of your answers. Okay. Find the product of complex numbers. How do I multiply them? I multiply the R values. 3 times 8 is 24. Cis is the shorter way of writing this, which is like cosine plus I sine. And then I'm going to add pi over 6 and pi over 2. Okay? When you add those two together, you get, what is that? 4 pi over 6, which is B. Okay? But as I keep telling you, you can always cross out two answers to begin with. So look at this, y'all. When you crossed out knowing that I had to multiply the R values, what's the difference in this, this one and that one? Is that says sine plus I cosine, and that says cosine plus I sine. So you didn't even have to know how to add pi over 6 and pi over 2. Okay? Multiplying means you multiply the R's and add the thetas. Divide says I'm going to divide the R values and I'm going to subtract the thetas. So 32 divided by 4 is 8. And 30 minus 18 is 12. So I have 8. Okay, these two don't say 8. And then I subtract, so it has to be C. Okay, 44. Okay, 44. So de Moivre's theorem says that I'm going to, I cube the r becomes the exponent, the 3 here becomes the exponent of my r, and then I multiply the angle. Well, that, don't know, cis 3 times 3 pi over 4. Okay, so that is 1,000 cis 9 pi over 4. Okay, so 9 pi over 4 has coordinates, is the same thing as pi over 4, and that's the square root of 2 times the square root of 2. So you end up with, it's the square root of 2 over 2 plus square root of 2 over 2i. And B is the correct answer, and we have already made sure of, but that should have been plus. So I hope that didn't throw you off. Okay, find all the complex roots, write the answers in the indicated form. So this time, this was raising it to a power. This time we're looking for roots, and when we do those roots, okay, that's like if we're looking for cube roots, then I'm doing it to the 1/3 power. Okay, oh, I skipped one, excuse me. Go back to 45. 1 plus I to the 20th. Okay, using de Moivre's theorem means I'm going to put that in polar form like it says in the one before. So I need my r. 1 squared plus 1 squared equals r squared. So r is the square root of 2. So in polar form, this is the square root of 2 cis. Okay. And y'all, x squared plus y squared equals r squared, and theta is, well, it's the tangent of theta equals y over x. So theta equals the inverse tangent of y over x, which in this case is 1 over 1. And so, keeps doing that to me. Stop. Okay. That makes my angle pi over 4. So I have square root of 2 cis pi over 4 all raised to the 20th. Well, that is the square root of 2 to the 20th power cis 20 times pi over 4. Well, 20 times pi over 4 is 5 pi. Cis 5 pi. And square root of 2 to the 20th is 2 to the 10th, which you can tell is going to be 1024. Where's 5 pi? Well, 5 pi, y'all, is right here. So that your real axis or your imaginary axis? Okay. It is pi, okay, which has the coordinates. That's probably easier for y'all. So 1024 times -1, 0. -1, 0 I is really what we're thinking. So what's the answer? And it's D. All right. Complex roots, raising it to the 1/3 power, -8i, is down here on this little picture, which is what angle? Okay, that's 270 degrees. So that means I'm trying to find 8 cis 270 raised to the 1/3. Well, 8 to the 1/3 is 2. So this is 8 to the 1/3 cis 270 times 1/3 is 270 over 3. So that's 2 cis 90. And 2 cis 90 is 2i. Boom and boom. Because 90 has coordinates of 0, 1. I, of course. Okay? The other way to find the other ones, y'all, is you take 360 and divide by how many roots you're finding, which is 3. So I'm going to add 120. That gives me 2 cis 210. Okay? Where's 210? The coordinates of 210 are negative square root of 3 over 2, comma, golly jeepers, negative square root of 3 over 2, comma, negative 1/2. They're both negative. Well, these don't both have a negative. Only this one has both negatives, so you can stop there. That doesn't look right. Got square root of 3 over 2. All right, moving on. 47. We're moving into vectors now. Again, still concentrating on those coordinates, y'all. Negative 5i plus 3j. That's a negative and a positive, which is in quadrant 2. Okay? So, you can see that these two are not in quadrant 2. These two are both in quadrant 2. They have the same picture, but now I have to find that magnitude. And the magnitude is the square root of 5 squared plus 3 squared, square root of a squared plus b squared, which is going to give us an answer of C. All right. Same concept that I've been doing, y'all. Okay. 120 is in quadrant 2. And in quadrant 2, you go negative and then positive. Okay. So which of these answers goes negative and then positive? Negative and then positive? A does. C, nope. D, B does. But D does not. Okay. So we got to know which of these it is. So now I'm going to, it's 10. And you got to think about 120. What are the coordinates of 120? 120 is negative 1/2 I plus square root of 3 over 2 j. Those are the coordinates. So when you distribute that 10, you'll find out that A is the answer. But again, knowing the quadrant and the signs knocks out 2 of the answers, and you just look at the difference between those 2 answers, y'all. Again, it should be a lot faster and help you to get the correct answer. Okay, find a unit vector. To find a unit vector, you divide by the magnitude, and the magnitude is 5 squared, the square root of 5 squared plus 12 squared, and that is equal to 13. So I'm dividing both of these by 13. So that's not it. Nope. The answer is C. All right, 50. Find the specified vector. So I'm supposed to subtract u minus v. Okay, u minus v, y'all, you're just subtracting the like components. So u is 3i minus a negative 9i is 12i, and the only one that has 12i first is A. All right, 51. I have to subtract v and u and then find the magnitude. So I'm looking for the magnitude of v minus u. 10 minus negative 5 is 15. 23 minus 2 is 21. So I need the magnitude of that vector, which is the square root of 15 squared plus 21 squared. Okay? I do want to talk a second. Some people have trouble with, but if you look at these answers, y'all, okay, if you try to do it over here, let's go see. It was 15 squared, 15 squared plus 21 squared. And you try to get an answer, and it gives you 666. Now, if you try to take the square root of that, where's my thingy? The square root of 666, will it give me the radical? Oh, look, there you go. 3, okay? So I'm just showing you how you can use it in case you didn't know. So 3 square roots of 74 is my answer. All right. 52, child throws a ball 5 feet per second. We're trying to find the vector in terms of I and J. They want the horizontal and vertical components. So horizontal is always cosine. So 5 cosine of 54 is your I component, and then 5 times the sine of 54 is your J component. So when you put those in your calculator, okay, when you do the first one, 5 times the cosine of 54, you don't get 4.054. You get 2.939, but you get a positive, so the answer has to be C. Power boat in the water. Okay, so this guy, y'all, the power boat's going in the water maintaining a speed at 45 miles per hour. Boom. Okay, 45. The boat heads directly across the river perpendicular to a current. Perpendicular. Keyword. That's 8. Perpendicular. Find the actual speed of the boat. Okay, so the speed is going to be the square root of 45 squared plus 8 squared. Okay, 45 squared plus 8 squared gives me 46 miles per hour. So my answer is D. You want to know how to do the angle? I can tell you the angle, but inverse tangent, I will tell you that you're looking for that angle. If you do inverse tangent, that's your theta right there. Okay, moving on, we're almost done here. All right, a dot product, U dot V. Dot product says multiply the i's, 13 times negative 15. Multiply the j's, negative 13 times 4, and add those together. So when you do that, you get an answer of negative 247. 55, U dot V plus W. So I got to find out what U is, I'll do this for you. 9i minus 6j dot, and then V plus W, so that's negative 18i minus 9 plus 5 minus 4j. Okay, and your dot product says multiply 9 times negative 18. So we got 9 times negative 18 plus negative 6 times negative 4. And when you do that, you get an answer of negative 138. All right, we're on the down home stretch. 4 left. 56. Find the angle between the vectors. Okay, so your angle, it's the cosine of the angle. So this is inverse cosine. And it's the dot product, which means that's going to be negative 4 when I multiply the i's, plus multiplying the j's is going to give me negative 6 over the product of the magnitudes. That's the dot product on top. The magnitude, remember, is the square root of a squared plus b squared. So that's going to be 1 plus 9 times the square root of 16 plus 4. And when you put that in your calculator, you're going to get an angle of 135. Okay? Use the dot product to determine whether the vectors are parallel, orthogonal, or neither. Okay? If it's parallel, your answer is going to be 1 or negative 1. If it's orthogonal, it will be 0, and neither means you didn't get one of those 3 answers. So my dot product is 32 plus negative 1 times negative 2 is 2. That's 34, so the answer is C. Keep in mind I corrected that on the answer key because it was wrong. So the answer is C. I believe the answer key says B, and it's not correct. All right. Solve the system by the method of your choice. Identify solutions. Okay, so I have this right here, y'all. The easiest way to do these problems is do it on ClassCalc. So I'm coming over to my graphing calculator. I'm in here. Go to a new line, and I'm going to go type in what we have. We had y equals 19 minus 4x. I graphed it. Okay, except I didn't put an x. X. Okay, and then I don't need that graphing thing. Go away. And then the next one said 16x plus 4y equals 76. Okay, you're like, I only see one line. Well, if you click off of it, you'll see that this is actually the same line. So what is the answer if it's the same line? Well, if it's the same line, y'all, it is not a point. So it can't be that. And basically, when you're looking for the solution, you're looking for what they have in common. And D says they have nothing in common. So the answer is C. And that's how we write that. All right, 59, I'm going to do the same thing, okay? It's just as easy to do it. Like I said, it's the fastest way, I think. All right, I'll just go ahead and clear it off. So we have, this time we have 4x minus 3y equals 9. That's my first one. And then I have negative 16x plus 12y equals negative 27. Now, some of y'all can tell this by looking at it and not having to graph it, but that's fine. Okay? But sure safe method, put it in, make sure you've typed everything in correctly. These two lines never intersect. Okay? So if they never intersect, then I know you know the answer is D, no solution. All right, last one. Again, I'm going to do the same thing so that you can see the representation on your calculator for each type of answer. 5y equals 35 minus 8x. And then I have 2x equals 65 minus 5y. Okay. If you can't see something, just zip out. Okay. All you have to do is go tap on that point, and it tells you it's negative 515. So negative 515 is an answer. Oops. Go away. Of B. I don't know why that's happening. Go away. B. B. And we're done. All right. We'll pick up on part 3 later. Thanks for watching.